at the time of your arrest, Thurmon McIntosh was 81 years old. Is he still alive today, or is he's passed on?
Um, no, he's passed on.
Okay, how long has it been since he's passed away?
Oh, I seen it in a newspaper paper article, so I don't remember. But I know they put it in the newspaper article, so I would have to say about 3, 4 years, 5 years. I don't know.
Okay, because it's one thing I wanted to know. Why wasn't him or Harrell's mother ever charged with accessory after the fact? Because you did let them know what went on, and neither one of them did go to the authorities to.
It
to
even said it even says in my interview everything that I told both of them. He even said that I told him that his grandson did it. And the paper, it even says that he stated that the reason why he told is because he didn't want to die without nobody knowing. And I've been asking myself that same question you're asking me. Why did they get charged? Why did they give them the reward money? Why did they make it seem like they was just this hero when he called for 4 years asking what the reward money was? And I don't understand why. Why did Alonzo Washington take it to Muskogee, Oklahoma, and give it to him and shook his hand and made it seem like he was this big old hero? Now, I would have been cool with it if he would have did it in 2001 when it happened. But you don't do that. You wait all the way to 2005. Then you bailed me out of jail in Muskogee and bailing me out. But the night that I tell you that I'm leaving your family and I'm not messing with y'all no more, do you leave that morning and reach out to Alonzo Washington and tell?
Okay.
And tell him.
Okay. Now, who was Alonzo Washington? So the audience will know.
Alonzo Washington was this avid advocate or something for Kansas City. It was a lot of them. They made out this precious dough committee where it's I guess it's these mothers and things, and I mean, do I get angry? Absolutely, because that is what I was going to do regardless, is let people know her name. And
this call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I get offended when people call her Precious Doe, because Precious Doe is somebody that's not known. She's known. She has a name. Her name is Erica Michelle Marie Green. And I just feel like because Thurmon called him and then he got a hold of the police, that they feel like Alonzo Washington and Thurmon at that time were heroes. Like, oh, they just cracked the biggest case. But when it's asked, why didn't the officers check when he called every year? Why didn't they look into the matter? It was because they thought that he was a drug addict.
Okay. Now,
so they didn't look into no evidence. They didn't look at or follow leads.
Okay. Now, did Mr. Thurmon McIntosh, did he use drugs at all?
No, he didn't. But his Harrell's mother did. She was a crackhead. He was an enabler.
Okay. Now, this is another question.
But no, he didn't. Mm-hmm. He didn't use drugs. He could have got on the phone anytime and turned us in.
Okay, now this is another question I want to ask you. Okay, now did Thurmon McIntosh, the grandfather of Harrell Johnson, did he overhear the conversation of you telling someone about what happened to Erica, or did you confess this personally to him?
I told him. The first person who knew what happened to my daughter was Deborah Johnson, Deborah Williams, his mother.
Okay.
Then the second person that I told was the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, your grandson killed my daughter.
Okay.
So those two are the people that knew. Did nobody else know? I didn't tell nobody else, because after you tell two people and you're around these people, and you feel like, okay, the right thing. I mean, I'm scared. I have a reason to be scared and frightened and for my life. But you have two people that I felt like should have helped me and had got the help, because I'm asking for help in so many ways, but only to be not told anything.
Now, Thurman, I saw in an interview that Thurman said that you had let him read letters that Harrell wrote you while he was locked up, and in those letters, Harrell was telling you he was so sorry about something that he had did. Do you remember what letters Thurman was referring to?
Harrell never wrote any letter saying he was sorry for anything. He used to torture me with them letters. Them letters weren't apologizing for nothing. Those letters were telling me, bitch, if you don't get back to my family house, I'm gonna tell the people. He was never. And Thurman didn't see the letters. The detectives found the letters when they searched the house. He never seen no letters. The detectives, when they searched the house, found the letters, because I keep everything. I'm a hoarder. Any paper I keep, and I kept them letters. And in the letters, it said how he was being vindictive, like in the Kansas City Star, when he wrote me in jail and tried to tell me to change my story and say somebody named Mike had did it, and told me what to say and how to coach me and what to say. And I gave the letter to my attorney, my public defender, who in turn gave it to the prosecutor, who in turn Kansas City Star wrote an article about it.
Now, I also saw in that same interview where Thurman had stated when Harrell got out of jail and he picked him up and he was in the backseat of his car, he instantly claimed that he started snapping and going in on Harrell, and Harrell got out of the car and walked over to you and said, "Why did you tell Grandpa?" Is that true?
You said that we were arguing, fighting?
No. In the interview, Thurman, he had said that he had picked, I guess he went to go to the jail. Harrell was getting out of jail, and he had picked him up, and he was in his car. They was coming to, y'all was going somewhere, and he started going in on him, just bashing him about what he did and what you had told him. And he said, Harrell...
Yes, that is true.
Okay, that's true?
That is true.
Okay.
That's true. That is exactly true. And that's how you know that, because Harrell got out of prison, not jail. He went to prison. See, Harrell made me marry him, okay? Because when he was on the run, not me, I was never on the run, okay? Harrell was on the run, okay? So Harrell was on the run for shooting this dude in the face who tried to rob him. Okay, so back in Oklahoma, if you marry an individual on the day they get sentenced, it makes their sentence get lesser.
Right.
Okay, so me and Harrell has never truly lived together as a married couple. You see what I'm saying?
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Once we got married, he went to prison. And he did 5 years in prison. And I went to my family. See, I left and went to Chicago because he didn't want me around my family, because I had the tendency of telling like I did his family. So my every move, if I wanted to go to the bathroom, he had to go with me. You know, my family even said that I couldn't go nowhere without my family, without him being there.
Okay. That was him trying to basically...
Make sure I didn't tell nobody else.
Yeah, to keep you close, to make sure that his secret was safe. Now, Now let me ask you. Now, early on, you did mention that you had an affair with Thurmon McIntosh.
Yes.
And Harrell's, was that Harrell's brother or his uncle?
His uncle.
Okay. Now, how did these affairs start with the grandfather and the uncle?
Well, when Harrell was in prison and he was threatening me, because once he got in prison, I felt somewhat free. Not all the way somewhat, because I knew he didn't have life, so I knew he was going to get out. Okay. So while Harrell was in prison, the grandfather started hitting on me and telling me,
you have 1 minute left.
The grandfather kept hitting on me, flirting with me, and I'm not going to lie. Like I said before, I started to hate Harrell. I started, due to what he did and me not being able to let people know who my baby was, I started to hate him. So I started to do vindictive things to him. And I knew sleeping with his uncle and his grandfather was addicted and that it will hurt him.
Okay. Now, how did he find out about this, or did he find out about it before?
Yeah, how he found out was because he went and asked his grandfather for some money, and the grandfather wouldn't give it to him. But then when I went and asked, he gave it to me. And he said, what's going on with you and my grandfather? And the same thing with his uncle. They wouldn't give him anything, but I can go get it.